Last week, Will Schuester decided he would empower women through the music of Madonna, and we all died. And that's what you missed on Gleeboot.
Ta-da!
Hi, welcome back to Gleeboot, the show that I watch when I'm depressed. This is Cullen.
Wait, the show you watch when you're depressed is Gleeboot.
I watch Glee when I'm depressed.
Okay, good, because I was going to say this is a podcast.
Yeah.
You can't watch it?
I watch the numbers tick by. This is Cullen.
Alyssa.
And Hannah.
Before we get into this week's episode, as we were setting up...
Okay, let's preface this with my brother and I are splitting Disney Plus.
What?
And that's how we got talking about Disney movies.
So she was watching the new Lady and the Tramp remake.
I was, yes.
And with the talking dog, that was a little disconcerting.
Oh wait, it's available on that streaming service?
Yeah.
Lady and the Tramp.
I thought it was coming out to theaters.
No.
Okay, good, because I didn't want to see it.
It's kind of very disturbing.
Yeah. The dogs look real cute, and then they talk, and you're like, why? And I was like, can't wait for that Aristocats remake. And then we were talking about Edgar the Butler, and I'm like, he has to be like the lamest Disney villain. And Alyssa's like, he's not a villain.
He's not a villain. He's not.
He separates cats from their owner and tries to harm them and ship them off. That's a fundamentally bad thing.
He tries to make them, like, leave the picture, okay? He doesn't try and kill them or make coats out of their fur. He just wants them to go to Timbuktu.
Yeah, but their home is with Madame in Paris.
Madame is the real villain here.
No, she loves her cats. Okay, that's fine.
No, it's not. Not when you're ignoring the poverty of the human world around you and will everything to your cats who are gonna die in, like,
there's no
9 years.
There's no poverty in that movie. You never get to see anyone poor.
Edgar doesn't even have, like, good pairs of clothes.
He works for her.
I'm pretty sure there's a scene in the movie where his shoes are, like, falling apart.
I don't remember that scene. Hannah, have you even seen Aristocats?
You're just so quiet here.
I'm so glad that you asked me that question because the answer will not surprise you, Cullen. The answer is no. The only parts of Aristocats I have seen is from Drunk Disney.
Okay.
A quality YouTube series.
I feel bad for Edgar.
Okay, so let me just say that let me preface what's going on with me because we open up this app to start the podcast and Cullen's like, oh, I can't wait till we start because I'm going to put Alyssa on blast. I literally thought it was going to be related to Glee, and then you guys started talking about Disney. I was like, well, I guess it's a good time to figure out which songs I hated and which ones I liked. That's why I was so quiet.
Yeah, there was zero sound coming from Hannah.
And that is rare.
Yes. Hannah, are you still connected?
Yeah, I died in the middle of your conversation, I should say.
Our next Twitter fan poll would be who's the real villain of Aristocats, Edgar or Madame?
Edgar, first of all, is too stupid to be a villain.
He hurts cats and so he is bad.
That's no. If you're going by he hurts cats, then he is bad. I'm going by if you're an ignorant person with lots of money who wills things to your cats instead of to your human servant, that's bad.
These are cats who sing and talk and paint and play the piano.
Oh, I see where you're coming from. A world that's not reality. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, that's the world that Aristocats is set in because the main characters are cats and geese that travel from London to France.
I don't like any of the cats, and I like the geese even less.
It's just too many. I don't even like the movie Aristocats that much.
No.
Edgar is bad. Okay.
No, if I don't like any of the main characters and Edgar is the one who's trying to take them down, he's the star of the story.
No, he's a terrible person who hurts cats. You know who also is a terrible person that probably would hurt a cat? William fucking Schuster.
Wow, that's such a
Here we
great
go.
segue.
This was a long intro. Sorry, everyone who came to listen about Glee.
I feel like there's probably an overlap in fandom. Today we're talking about the episode Home. It features Christian Chenoweth back in action, and I'm gonna play my cards out. Has some good parts, bit of a snooze. Just gonna say that. Like, it's not objectively terrible.
It's boring.
But it's not objectively great. But our cat, Alyssa's cat.
We established that you are the stepdad.
Yeah, we've established last episode. I'm just a mess. Suki was sitting in Alyssa's lab watching it for a decent chunk of the episode. So,
like 20 minutes.
So I'm going to say, and she does not usually do that.
For everyone listening who does not know my cat, Suki will leave your grasp within the first 90 seconds of holding her.
Yeah, so this was her favorite episode of Glee.
Yeah.
That is a high praise to have a cat like an episode of this show. Yeah, this episode, I mean, I have some just like message problems with some of it that, like, again, should not be shocking. But ultimately, I don't have that many notes. Like, compared to the Madonna episode, like, this was like the best thing I had seen from Glee compared to that. And back to back was just really shocking.
Are you drinking anything, Hannah?
I've had 2 cups of coffee, and I haven't drank coffee in like 2 weeks. So I'm in this weird sort of stupor where I'm really tired, but also there's caffeine just like racing through my blood right now.
Oh, I've been there. You should mix some Baileys in that.
See, I was
Caffeine.
going to, and then I was like, oh, I don't have money in my bank account, and I don't get paid till Friday. So I'm just going to drink it the old-fashioned way.
We're both drinking Malibu Caribbean rum with coconut liqueur. It's like this bottled pineapple thing, or canned, that I brought to a party once. It says certified colors added, but you can't see the colors because it's inside a can, so I feel like that was a wasted step.
What are certified colors?
Like FDA approved, I'm assuming.
I have no idea.
I feel like if you want to be certified, or if you want to be FDA approved, you should say FDA approved. But also, if you have to specify FDA approved, that's not good either.
That means there are colors that are not FDA approved.
There are dyes that you can ingest that will kill you.
Like what?
I don't know.
Asking for a friend.
I'm not trying to murder anyone, but just like hypothetically. Okay.
Home.
I'm gonna get it.
Home. Let's do it.
I'm gonna get into some Matthew Morrison drama later.
Yes.
I did some asking around. So basically our plots this week are, we have the Sue and Mercedes plot. We have the Will and April plot. And we have Kurt and Finn.
/
which
the parent.
Their parents. Which the ship name that the show established for Kurt and Finn, which could have been kin, they went with Furt.
Wow.
I think because that word is really uncomfortable, as is that relationship right now.
That's accurate. Which plot do you guys feel like discussing first?
I don't know. I kind of want to... The only one that was like relatively interesting to me was honestly the Sue and Mercedes one, just because like I love the Kurt and Mercedes joining the Cheerios. I like that.
Yeah, let's start there. She's talking about that she has the new... Sue is saying that Cheerleader Magazine is setting a reporter to do like a front page story on her. And she's like, Mercedes, how come you're in like the tracksuit that have the male cheerleaders who only ever exist in musical numbers and never outside of that wear you're wearing like the pants, why aren't you wearing a skirt? And Mercedes is all like, oh, I just didn't want to start like a sex riot by being like too hot. And her and Kurt do this thing where they both like flip their hair. And she's like, how come you two don't have a show on Bravo? I thought that was a great line. And then she's like, you need to be in a gender appropriate outfit. And apparently they only make those in certain sizes. So you need to lose 10 pounds in a week.
I can attest to the fact that gender appropriate outfits only come in certain sizes.
Yeah.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, I wish I was surprised, but I am not.
Welcome.
And also like cheerleading uniforms, especially the Cheerios ones, like the skirts aren't like pleated, they're the straight ones, right?
Yeah.
So like they're even more conflicting, even though they've got like some slits and they've got like the spank shorts underneath, like they're still really constricting. And then like those tops, like there's no stretch. Like I feel like no one, no matter how skinny you are, is going to be actually comfortable in that.
No.
Which is why she has the cheerleaders on the Sylvester cleanse, which is like sand and laxative and like...
Which is so weird. Like, to think that if you're going to go on a cleanse, you're still going to end up with the body that you want, which isn't true at all. Like, nobody has the same sort of body type. But people always want you to think, and I think you're always talking about this, like,
yeah,
if you lose the weight and you do the diet, then you're going to end up with this ideal body type, and that's just not the way it works.
Yeah, people aren't like cutouts and then like problems or whatever, like diet and lifestyle choices make you a different way, but if everyone was perfect, they'd all look the same. Like, that's not true. Like, some people's bodies are just gonna look a certain way. And maybe, yeah, if you like spent all your moments working out, you could look like Michelangelo's David, but like, that's not realistic. Like, the people who made those like ideal body types and statues and stuff like didn't expect real humans to look like that. And the models are airbrushed. And you should just look up Jamila, who plays Tahani on The Good Place, because she has lots of great stuff to say about the American beauty / dieting industry.
And about being a feminist in progress, I think was like the last term I saw. I think she did like an interview.
Oh, that's a cool term.
She did an interview with, I think it was Gloria Steinem, and that was like what she was called. Like, she's like a feminist in progress. And I'm like, yeah, because like Roxane Gay had a book called Bad Feminist, which is like an amazing book and also a good term, because like, wow, we're really getting into some shit tonight.
Like, on the episode that has the least problems with it.
It's kind of just like, there's nothing crazy about this episode that I'm like latching onto. So I guess like this is leading into the fact that like it's obviously talking about like diet culture and that sort of craziness, and then like loving yourself, spoiler alert. So yeah, I guess this conversation is just kind of naturally happening.
True.
But fun fact that we are actually talking about everything but the actual episode. So
yeah, I do want to say that there's a meme, or it was like a tweet that was like, I appreciate how Glee decided to handle every possible issue, but handle none of them well. That I do feel like overall they handled this pretty well.
The Mercedes plotline.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, I'm eating broccoli or like salad with the ranch on the side and like a chicken breast. Like, this is a healthy meal. And I'm like, yeah, like that is like a nice lunch. And Kurt's like, I'm eating like a celery stick and gum or something. And he's like, you need to do all this to like lose 10 pounds. And like Brittany and Santana are on their crazy cleanses. And so she's like we cut to a later lunch scene and she's eating like nothing. And she's there with everyone's favorite couple, Artina, Artie and Tina. and Tina's got some lines, and they're talking about.
She's got some lines.
She's got some lines. We'll
Yep.
revisit at Tina time. But they're like, that's not healthy. Like, you can't lose that amount of weight in a week. Like, that's not okay. And she's like, you guys are just jealous because, like, I'm popular and I'm in the Cheerios now. I've been a loser. I want to be popular. Like, I'll do whatever it takes. And then she starts seeing them as, like, in giant food suits. Like,
Yep.
I think Artie is a piece of cake and Tina's ice cream or something. And she sees, like, Rachel and Jesse walking by and they're in food suits. And she's like, you guys stop judging me and stop trying to get you to eat me. And I'm like, what? And then,
Get me to eat you.
I really hated that sequence. I mean, for like a number of reasons, just like in general, but
Hannah's biggest trigger is people in giant food suits.
honestly though, like I was like, I get what they're going for. They're going for that, like, yeah, she's so hungry that these people are starting to look like food. But there's also this added like meta element that like it's not even like actual food, it's food suits that are so obviously not like actual transformations. And I was like, I don't think this is funny. I think this is really annoying. And I was triggered by Jesse in the hamburger suit. I think he was in the hamburger suit because at one point, no, whoever was in the ice cream at one point, like their suit folded up, and I was like, I don't like this. I don't know what it was.
I have a question then. If you could like have the same scene, but instead of it being like food suits and use some sort of, I don't know, like animation where they kind of like pop into being that is actual food, but it's like animated, would you be more inclined to have something like that?
I think so. I think I was mostly like, I was expecting that, like an animation of some sort, but then it was like actual, like practical effect of wearing suits. And I was like, I understand that they're trying to be funny. Like it felt very obviously trying to be funny to me. And I was like, I do not appreciate being treated like a child. I don't know. It was very
this was
upsetting.
2009. Animation didn't exist yet.
Oh,
What
yeah,
are you
exactly.
talking
I'm
about?
joking.
That's 100%.
In our Gleeboot, instead of wearing the practical suits, they will turn into CGI food.
CGI?
Yes, with faces on it. And they're going to sing a mashup of Katy Perry's Birthday, like I Know You Like Your Cake, or no, the DNCE, Cake by the Ocean, and Katy Perry's Bon Appetit.
Shut the fuck
It's
up.
gonna be a really expensive like scene.
No, I think they should look like the annoying orange. That I think would have been funnier if it's like just like giant fruit with their faces on it, or
singing Bon Appetit, baby.
Yes, and the choreography is totally ripped off from Status Quo in High School Musical.
Yes.
Because we can't afford choreographers, so we have to copy someone else. Because we spent a lot of money on that whole CGI shit.
Yep, all the CGI and the rights to the songs.
There goes our budget. All right, guys.
We got one scene.
Here we go. We have the behind-the-scenes special edition of High School Musical in which Zac Efron, Lucas Grabeel, et al. Are teaching us the choreography. Hurry up. They're starting to speed it up. Let's go. We only have 10 minutes till photography. Let's go. That's what's going to happen on the Gleeboot.
And then they're in like those CGI like motion capture suits that you see in
Oh my goodness.
Like I'm thinking like the Beast in the Beauty and the Beast remake CGI suit.
No.
Dancing to Bon Appetit.
Yes, no, we have to hire the same people that animated the Beast. So, yes.
Can we not, please? You guys, we're poking at the Beast here.
Quality content.
That was a joke. I hate the Beast.
Yeah, we hate the Beauty and the Beast remake.
Okay.
My undergrad is in animation though, so I'm a little bit sore about it. It's terrible. It's a terrible job.
She has like the professional knowledge to be like, no, yeah, that sucks. So let me have a little Disney moment for you. Because I don't want to talk about this episode, it's so boring. Cullen knows this because I texted you when I was attempting to watch the Beauty and the Beast, and I think it took me 5 watches
The
of
new
like
one?
Yeah, the 2017.
20 minutes each because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it in one sitting. It made me physically ill. Okay, and that's my Disney moment.
Which feature or which piece of content is waiting for you in the lowest circle of hell? The Power of Madonna or Beating the Beast 2017?
The Power of Madonna, because at least the Beauty and the Beast has like some songs I can sing along to that I actually want to sing along to. Although, I mean, I don't mean to throw shade, but like I did not like. Actually, no, I didn't like anyone's singing voices in Beauty and the Beast. Maybe that actually should be my Circle of Hell movie.
It's a mashup of both of them.
Oh my god, that is cruel.
It is the worst of both worlds. It's the opposite of Hannah Montana.
Schmanish Montana.
Yeah, she only sings covers
All
of
right,
the Beauty and the Beast live action songs.
Second Disney moment for Hannah. I was plagued by Hannah Montana's existence when that show was on because everyone would be like, "Oh, Hannah, you mean like Hannah Montana?" And I'd be like, "No, I hate you. Please stop talking to me." So Miley Cyrus ruined my life.
So in our Gleeboot, Hannah will actually star in the episode where they cover Malibu by Miley Cyrus. I want you to pocket that memory and keep it with us for Glee Season 2, Episode 2.
Glee Season 2, Episode 2. Wait, which memory? I've talked about a lot of them.
Of being called Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus ruining your life.
Okay. Because
this is going to be relevant later.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Because I don't remember what you're talking about, so this is going to be a fun surprise.
Fun surprise. Like the conclusion of this storyline. I don't know. But so throughout this, Quinn is like watching Mercedes like treat her body in such a negative way and is all like, I don't like this. And then when she passes out and she comes to, she's with Quinn, and Quinn's like, oh, here's a granola bar. And she's like, I'm not hungry. And she's like, you're starving. And Quinn has this really great moment where she's like, I used to be just like you, like hating myself for eating a cookie, like being so hard on myself. And then once I became pregnant, my relationship with food changed because I was eating for this baby to be healthy. She's like, why can't I eat for my own body to be healthy? And like, you've always been at home in your body, because they got to shoehorn that theme in. But she's like, you've been at home in your body, and don't let Sylvester take that from you.
Yeah.
And it was like a really sweet moment.
So
I really liked Quinn.
My first note was, oh my god, Quinn is mom-splaining. But then like I took a second to really think about it, and then I was like, I am really feeling this whole scene because it's a really rare bonding moment of Quinn and literally anybody else who isn't Puck when she gives him some sort of redeeming factors.
Yeah. And
it was like, also because she didn't do anything last episode, like this was really, it was her, like every 4 or 5 episodes she gets like a few shining moments, and then she's discarded until she's needed again. So I thought it was really, really great. I loved it.
Yeah, and I thought that was a really good way to frame it, not just like, you're beautiful the way you are, well, which she says, but just not like, oh, you're beautiful, you don't need to change that, or just like, boys will like you no matter what, you just need to find the special boy, or like those kind of stuff that I feel like shows throw out a lot. But instead she's like, I was realizing that I need to eat food to be healthy, and why can't I do that for myself?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like such a real thing that I feel like a lot of people probably have realized and gone through, or like different things happen where you realize, oh, like food is about being healthy, and it's not like our society treats eating like it's inherently bad.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that, like, considering the Power Madonna episode and all the problematic stuff was happening there, like, it would not have surprised me if Glee had been like what you were saying, like those sort of other, you know, less ideal messages being thrown around, and like they took a really diplomatic and healthier approach to that storyline, which is honestly shocking in comparison to
Yeah,
the
this was
Power of
like
Madonna.
this was it was a really good scene, really good way to handle the message. And if it had been in a different episode that just had other stuff in it that was also exciting, I think it would have been a really great subplot.
Did I miss the Sue holding up broccoli segment, and where she's like, "Do you know what this is?" And
That's
she's
in a
like,
later season.
"Okay."
That's in the Tater Tots episode.
Okay. Cool. Okay. No,
But that's a great joke,
I
and I'm
literally,
excited to relive it.
because like I was watching this and I was like, "Oh my god, isn't it in this?" And then I was like, maybe I missed it. But I actually like just recently saw a GIF of that. So that's what made me think of it too.
So this plot concludes with Mercedes is all like, because Kurt's been like, you can't screw this up, you have to lose the weight. He's putting pressure on her too. And then when it's time for the big pep rally and the journalist is there, like he's like, oh, it's so crowded. And Sue's like, yeah, I arranged to have the entire school fumigated so everyone has to attend the pep rally, which is just a funny detail. And then Mercedes comes out in like the suit shoot, like the tracksuit, and Kurt's like, "What is she doing?" And Santana and Brittany were like, "I don't know," but part of me feels like they did know and like they had planned this ahead of time, but or it was just Glee magic because Mercedes starts singing the Christina Aguilera song, which has never touched me in any way. Beautiful, and the cheerleaders all join her, and they're like, anyone can come up and join. And Quinn comes up first, and the rest of the Glee Club takes front and center because they're the least popular kids, but yet they're always the center of attention. And they sing beautiful, and Sue is like upset because she can't be like, oh, I hate this in the middle of it. But she's like, they're ruining everything. And then the journalist is like, I thought you were a hack and a fraud and I was going to expose you, but you had cheerleaders of every size and color, which means there was one Latina cheerleader and now a black cheerleader and a gay man. So that is diversity.
Capital D diversity.
Capital D diversity. And he's like, and now I'm going to talk about how great you are. And Sue's like, yes, I planned this. Thank you.
So, okay. So when Mercedes first like comes out and she's like talking to the audience, she literally like blatantly rips off Mean Girls, being like, how many of you have gone through this? And like people are raising their hands and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I see. And then the Cheerios. So like Santana, Brittany, and Kurt, who like in the Glee universe, already know how to instantly harmonize at any given moment because they're in Glee.
Mm-hmm.
It's other Cheerios that turn around to start singing with Mercedes, and I'm like, why the fuck aren't they in the Glee Club? Like, why? So that I thought was really interesting, but I was also really confused, and maybe it's because I'm missing something, but so Mercedes starts by saying like, I've been feeling pressured to feel like this, but that's not how it should be. And then she goes into the song, and then the reporter is like, oh yeah, no, actually you guys have like a really good thing going here. Like, Sue Sylvester, you're a hero. And I'm like, did he not hear her literally being like, I was in this group and feeling like this, but I'm going to change that? Or was there just like a different reading that I just wasn't expecting?
Did she specifically say Cheerios?
She didn't.
No, but she
'Cause
was.
if she didn't,
I would have to
I don't
rewatch
know.
it, but like it comes off as like she's like she's literally saying that like I'm.
But I think it only comes off that way because we know that Sue was the one pressuring her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it, but like I literally was like that feels like a really weird turn. So like
Well, I wouldn't believe it if I was there. Like,
oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that
Like,
too.
if I was,
It's like that's making a serious jump. Like honestly, if a student well, I don't know cuz like I also have to think as like a not normal person because no one in Glee is a normal person. So like in the world of Glee, I guess that reporter could be like believing that that's what the whole intention was. It's just I don't know. The irony just didn't play for me.
Yeah. It did seem weird that Sue was like yelling at Mercedes because she tried to lose weight and she gained a pound at one scene, and like encouraging Becky to like lose all this, like just like doing all this. Sue was rewarded for being bad and unhealthy the whole way through.
yeah.
Yeah, because like if that reporter actually because like Sue was just reinstated like a few episodes ago essentially, and so she's walking on thin ice even though she is blackmailing Figgins, the worst principal in the world. But if that reporter were to actually like get the message across that like oh like she's crazy, like why wouldn't he just be like I have all of this dirt on you that I've gotten somewhere else, how come this is your message right now, like what's going on? Like that person would dig more into it if they were a normal person. There's just I don't know. I don't think I liked maybe I didn't like this storyline as much as I thought I said I did.
Inconsistencies.
I think the Sue half, but I think like the Mercedes journey,
Yeah.
it's very straightforward and simple, but it's resonant. I just don't care for Christina Aguilera's Beautiful that much. Hot take. Like it's just never struck me. Yeah.
What song would you choose
Don't even
instead?
quite remember it.
I'm trying to think because I don't love the Alyssa Cara. I think the She Just Wants to Be that one.
I have no idea what this is.
I'm forgetting. Scars to Your Beautiful? No. That's different.
How does it go? What are the
song,
lyrics?
It's the She Just Wants to Be Beautiful. She knows. Attention she craves, the like image sculpted by the sculptor.
I don't know.
I'm gonna look this up.
The only song that I can think of that has like beautiful in it is not a song about actually like being beautiful or thinking that you're beautiful or like being at home in your skin. It's about someone singing about someone who's beautiful, which doesn't work.
Are you talking about the Napoleon Dynamite lookalike singer?
I have no idea.
I don't know what his name is. I can't think of his name.
Well, I don't know the singer. All I can
Is
I
it
just know the
You're
tune
Beautiful?
Allyssa.
You're beautiful.
Yes!
Yeah, I fucking hate that song. Fuck that guy.
It's the only one that I can.
That was
think
the
of.
only one I could think of too.
A song I might use would be Reflection from Mulan.
All right, some more Disney. Okay.
Some more Disney. I'm looking. Okay, I found the artist songs. I'm gonna see the name of the song, and I'm gonna. It is "Scars to Your Beautiful."
Okay.
Do you know that song?
Don't think so. I probably have heard it. I just don't know the lyrics.
How long can I play it without us getting?
Well, don't play it. Just look at the lyrics.
Scars to Your Beautiful lyrics. April Rhodes is back.
Mm-hmm. Randomly.
Yes. It was very random.
Running a roller. It's a song about body image directed at women.
You haven't found the lyrics yet.
I'm trying. Okay. What was I gonna say? So they sing a Bruce Springsteen song, "Fire." I'm a big Bruce Springsteen fan. Well, sort of a Bruce Springsteen
We
fan.
kind of like jumped into this. Can we start at the beginning of this plot?
We'll start us out as I try and find the lyrics to "Scars to Your Beautiful."
This is gonna be real rough because I don't take notes. But what I remember from this plot is that the Cheerios have rented out the auditorium space so that the Glee Club cannot use it, which means they, for some reason, have to find another place to practice, which makes no sense because they're in the music room practicing all the time and there's only like 12 of them.
That, and we know they have a dance studio because Rachel was in there doing ballet in like the second episode. Also, they have an outdoor campus. I happen to know they have a really big like outdoor lunch area a la Greece. So like they have space.
All right, I found the lyrics. I'm gonna do the chorus because that'll probably be more helpful. There's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are. You don't have to change a thing. The world can change its heart. No scars to your beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful. It was on the radio, like it was inescapable.
I don't really listen to the radio.
I feel like I probably have heard it once.
I only listen to Glee covers of songs, Cullen. If they didn't do this song, I don't know it.
I also don't listen to the radio.
Okay.
God, Cullen is trapped on this podcast. He's trapped in this bit. This is his final circle of hell, in which he's trying to make this episode work, and Alyssa and I are like, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, that's
I've
his
never
life with me
spoken
every
English
day.
ever.
Have you ever listened to a conversation with just Cullen and I? It's him quoting things or like talking to me about pop culture, and I'm just like, I have no idea. You're gonna have to know. I don't know.
Yeah, like the best thing is trying to explain like a meme or internet joke because you have to unpack each level. By the time you've unpacked like each level, it is no longer funny. Like
I'm like,
it's like, okay, boomer.
I know about that one.
She understands that reference.
Do I need to bleep that out? People are saying it's the new N-word.
Okay.
It's not.
So,
Let's be edgy.
oh God.
Yeah. So he's looking for a space to rehearse, and he checks out this roller rink, which is run by April Rhodes, Kristen Chenoweth, and she sees Will Schuester. She says a phrase that scarred me to my core.
Yeah.
Oh, Will Schuester, I just had a sex dream about you the other night. Horrifying. That woman needs therapy. I need therapy. So then she starts singing. She turns on like, we're gonna sing "Fire" by Bruce Springsteen, and they skate around. And she's like,
Wait, did we get to the part where did you tell them why we're at the roller rink?
because he's looking for rehearsal space.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
I totally missed that entire sentence.
Well,
You
you,
did.
yeah, I was gonna say you
You got us
also did all that context for us.
I did do the context, but I don't actually remember the sentence where we went from the context to the roller rink.
So they're eating chili cheese fries or whatever, like flirting at a roller rink because they only flirt at roller rinks and bowling alleys and places, class acts. And then she's like, I'm the mistress to like I almost said the Big Lebowski to like it's a Polish name, I think, like the owner of all these strip malls, fulfilling my lifetime ambition of being the mistress to a man who owns a bunch of strip malls. And he gives her this roller rink to rent out space. and she's talking with Will, and she's like basically hitting on him, and he's all like, "Oh, I'm separated, and I'm looking to rent out a room in my apartment." Something that is suddenly brought up in this scene and will not be brought up again after this episode. And she's all like, "Oh, I'd be interested in subletting your apartment. Like, are you inviting me over?" And he's like, "Well, not for sex." And she's like, "Oh, I just want to check it out." So, and she fell off the wagon. She's drunk. She's drinking again.
There's a lot to unpack in that whole sequence. I mean, you already started with the line.
The apartment one?
No, the sequence that we're talking about right now.
Before we even get there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you already mentioned like the most terrifying line that you could have. "I just had a sex dream about you, Will Schuester," is honestly, you're right. That is like one of my circles of hell, having to hear that over and over again.
Body language says a lot, and I'm like keeping my legs very closed right now.
So I wrote that like this whole like number they do is so weird because they're singing with mics, and then when they start like skate dancing, their voices are still the same level and they're not holding mics anymore. And I'm like, I get it, but also I hate it. Like,
this is me every time a Glee musical song like goes from real life to not real life anymore.
Yes.
Every time. Every time. I made the same comment while we were watching it.
And I was like, this is just what musicals
I
do.
understand that, but also like it was just like so obvious to me. Like I didn't even like most numbers, I don't even think about it. Like the second they like disappear from the Glee room and start like squint singing down the hallway, I'm like, I'm here for it. But this one was just
maybe it's just because they were roller skating.
Maybe. And I was like, that's awful. I hate this. I don't like this at all.
It's definitely not as good as the roller skating scene in the Trolls movie.
Okay, so never seen that movie and don't understand that reference.
I think that if you guys are held up on things like this, it's going to be a rough 6 seasons.
True.
We're held up on... I'm held up on these. I don't like them.
Alyssa's like, I'm held up on a lot of things right now.
And then, so after that, my next line is, and I don't know, this may be also like bleeding over from having watched The Power of Madonna right before it. I wrote, "This show hates women and women in the show hate themselves." And I think this has to do with April talking about like her goals of being like a mistress and like that she's never gonna achieve anything. And I'm like, wow, that's terrible. And then also they have this like really cliche moment where like he's like, yeah, I'm getting a divorce. And like divorce is said so loudly, and then they do that really like cliche looking around like, oh shit, did anyone hear me? But like no one gives a fuck about their conversation. And it's like, that was such a dud. And I was like, this is amazing. That part I loved. I was like, the silence of it. That's like a whole like a second of silence to have that bit. And I was like, wasn't worth it, but I love it.
Chef's kiss.
I don't even know. Oh, I also wrote, as compared to the rate at which I watched the Madonna episode, I am flying through this one because I don't think I paused it once.
Yeah, this one, it goes, it doesn't have the low lows of the Madonna episode, but you are missing some of the energy and the music, I feel like, because their next scene, so she's like, oh, you can have the Glee kids perform at the roller rink for free. There's maybe one scene of them doing that, like practicing at the roller rink, and they're just skating around. So whatever.
Also, he checks her out as she like walks away, like, she's like, okay, like, I'll see you there. And he, like, checks her out. And I'm like, didn't you just send away your girlfriend to a mental institution so that she can get better so you can date her? I was like, you're an animal and I hate you.
Men think they're really subtle when they check people out, but they're not. I was on like the metro, going to downtown or like to Hollywood, and this guy like walks on the bus, and I think he like wants to sit in the seat next to me because he's like staring at me, and then he just moves, and I'm like, oh, he was checking me out. Because I'm like, why is this man just like looking at me directly? Men are not subtle. Also, I love a good tangent. I was on my way to Hollywood, and I was gonna see my friend who's like lived here his whole life. Was like, I want to see the Chinese theater, and I was like, why? But okay. And I was like, if I ever mentally break, I'm going there. I'm going to where Marilyn has her handprints. I'm taking a sledgehammer and I'm blaring Smash's "Let's Be Bad" and smashing her handprint.
I hate it. Or you could do a mashup of that and Let Me Be Your Star, and it doesn't make sense and it's totally cacophonous. That's what you should do.
That's Smash. And then as I walk away, I play I'm Not Sorry, also from Smash.
Oh, fuck that show.
Shout out to our Smashies.
Smashies. I hate it.
So back in this this show,
which I think takes place in the same exact alternate universe as Smash. Like, everything is awry and off, and there are Broadway stars who aren't Broadway stars but are also Broadway stars in some regard. It's fucking fantastic.
In a perfect world, it would have been an expanded musical universe where Rachel tries out for Bombshell.
Well, I mean, that's in the Gleeboot. It's where we finally merge the two shows that brought our hate watching together.
Wait, does that mean I have to watch?
No,
Don't.
no, we're not going to make you do it. We're going to make you just, run with it. Just give us all your ideas. We don't care if you've seen it or not. We would prefer if you didn't, because you probably do a way better job.
Okay.
So, Kristen Chenoweth, April Rhodes, spends the night at Will's apartment, and he's all like, you're going to sleep on the couch. I'm going to sleep in the master bedroom, which, I don't know. We're not going to get into this. Okay. And then she sings, if he's renting out a spare room, wouldn't he have a spare bedroom for her to sleep in?
The spare bedroom was Terry's sewing room. The craft room. So that means that she probably took all of that stuff and now there's nothing in it. I'm surprised that man still has furniture. I would think Terry would take it and sell it and make him live in squalor. But
because that's what I would
also,
do.
Can I just quickly talk about, I don't think I noticed this until like now, like there was always something that bothered me about their apartment. And I think it's the crown molding mixed with like the bright blue or teal color in their dining room. And it reminds me of the Monticello house in Washington, D.C. and a postcard I had of that dining room there. And yeah, I just thought I would share that random tidbit.
Wow. Okay.
Because Will Schuster's basically a slaver.
Oh, awkward. Anyway.
So she likes to sleep with body warmth, and she starts singing One Less Bell to Answer, meshed medleyed with A House Is Not a Home, which Kurt sings earlier, and we'll get to that Furt storyline.
Furt.
So it's Kristen Chenoweth, so she can sing. It's a nice medley. Is it that exciting? I think not.
It's so boring. Let's say it how it is.
Oh!
It's boring.
Oh my god. So, okay, really quickly, to go back to... I had a lot about, I guess, that whole first scene with
April and Will. Wapril.
There's... I don't know, wait, is it... No.
There's a second scene with them at the
Okay,
roller rink.
maybe it's that one because I have a fun background tidbit that kind of relates. We're just gonna go to it. Go ahead. Sorry.
So she crawls into bed with him, and then
which is so weird because it's like platonic at the time that it's happening, but she's been saying all of these weird sex things about Will and like expect things to happen and then they don't happen. It's just really, really weird.
I didn't like the singing, and I just didn't like it. It was really boring.
Yeah. It's real boring.
And that's...
Which is half of the reason why I expected something sexual to happen. And nothing happened. And it got more boring.
I think what we're learning is that sometimes we just would rather Glee go all out and miss, because then it's at least more exciting to watch. And than just like play it halfway.
More exciting to talk about. I feel like I'm putting our listeners to sleep. I just like, I cannot get up enough energy because there really wasn't anything I was that passionate about.
Oh, we'll get to something.
Oh, yeah, well,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they practice at the roller rink, the Glee kids. It's not really that good of a practice. And he's all like, April, you could be doing so much more with your life. And I'm like, rude. And she's like, you're right, Will. I needed you to tell me that. And I'm like, ah. And then she's like, yeah, I'm going to break it off with my, I don't know what, I almost said master, because that's like, master is the male form of mistress. But like, whatever, the guy she's sleeping with.
Her beau.
Her beau, yeah.
Sugar daddy?
Oh!
Yes! I'm looking, where's the thing? And then, like, she's like, this roller rink loses so much money anyway. And, I'm like, a more exciting version of this show would have the Glee kids hang out at the roller rink all the time. And then, so, I mean, typical condescending Will shit. And then, it turns out when she breaks up with her beau, her sugar daddy, he like has a heart attack and dies. And his wife pays her all this money in hush money. So she buys the auditorium. It is now the April Rose Auditorium. So like, let's be honest, she's done more than Will Schuester ever has. What? So she owns this auditorium and she's using the rest of her money. So they have an excuse for her to sing the song Home from The Wiz because it fits in with the theme. She sings Home with The Wiz with the Glee kids at the end because she's going to Broadway to mount an all-white production of The Wiz.
Oh my God. So,
we got a story for you.
Oh, shit. It's story time.
This isn't Cullen's Corner. This is beyond that.
Wait, is this the thing that happened?
Yes, this is the thing that happened. Thank you for being more specific. Right. But I think you do have some general context about why we're freaking out. So
as you probably know, we all went to grad school together.
Yes.
Alyssa, you know that. You were there.
I was talking to our listeners, but yes.
I was answering
for the listeners. Okay.
An audience surrogate.
Okay.
Yeah. Me and Hannah had our sitcom class together. Alyssa was in a different sitcom class.
It was the same teacher, like different groups of people.
Yeah. A very experienced man who like worked a lot on Sesame Street, and the Bob Newhart show, so like had mad respect for him, but he was also very old. So you go next, Heather.
Wow. So many inside jokes being dropped. I'm so glad that our listeners are going to understand everything.
He always called Hannah Heather,
okay.
even when she wrote an email signed Hannah.
Okay, so it first started in class where he called me Heather, and everyone like looked around and like didn't really think about it, and I was like, I'm gonna accept it because I have family members named Heathers. Like I was used to being called that. And then in an email he'd be like, hi Heather. I'd be like, okay, signed Hannah. And then he'd be like, hi Heather, thanks for emailing me. And I'd be like, I love you. Thank you. And then you know what? The rest of the I almost called it season, because we also referred to each semester of our program as season 1, 2, 3, and 4, or seasons 1, part 1, and part 2.
Yeah.
And basically throughout the rest of that class, I just let him call me Heather, and I just stopped correcting him. It just wasn't worth it. Okay, so we did a group pilot,
a group spec script.
Yeah, a group spec script for Blackish.
It was what the professor assigned to our class,
which is, it was in like an early few seasons, so I think now it's got like a lot more seasons, but like, so that's why we chose it, because he wanted to do like a newer show. And so basically we had to come up with an idea as a group about what our script was going to be about, and Cullen decides to pitch a wonderful idea of having, was it the school or was it the community production?
Yeah.
Okay, the school wanted to have a production of The Wiz, but it was Junior, right? Junior basically goes to like an all-white school. And so we were like freaking out about this almost all-white The Wiz. And yeah, I don't really know where else to go with this, because I'm like, I could get into some deep lore that literally no one will care about.
Our class demographic was
how do we put this?
It was one person of color.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. There was a classmate who was Black, and the rest of us were white, so I really think Blackish was a bad choice, because it's specifically a show about the Black experience.
Seems almost like putting on your production of The Wiz.
Of The Wiz.
Holy
yeah, and
shit,
I just was
that
thinking,
is meta. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, no, it's like, just like the production of The Wiz we were talking about and critiquing, there was only one Black person in our Blackish script, like helping write it.
Yep.
Wow. Fuck, guys.
Yep.
So I picked this idea because my roommate in college was like, oh yeah, I was the Tin Man in The Wiz. And I was like,
you mean The Wizard of Oz?
And he's like, no, The Wiz. And like, I was not versed in social justice at all at this point, but I was just kind of like, but why did you do The Wiz? Like, it just like didn't make sense to me.
We specified that this person was a white person, right?
Yes, he's paler than I am and even more of a ginger than I am. And he's like, yeah, I know, but like, it was what my school did. And I'm like, fair. And when they're like, okay, come up with an episode that's about this family, but also the Black experience, I was like, okay, let's talk about The Wiz. And then I was thinking, this is just going to be about like Junior wanting to perform and be in a play, and his dad like not approving of it, and like approaching it from that angle. But there's just all these messy
race
things that come up
that were like, we do not have the time nor the nuance to talk about it in a 28-page script with exactly, with like
yes.
with very limited like firsthand experience of that experience. So like, God, yeah. So basically what we're saying is April's line really hit home with us. Nailed it.
Oh my gosh. It was yeah, that whole experience was a little bit of a stressful experience. Then like when she referenced it, I was like,
triggered.
Oh, Hannah's gonna freak out.
I think I texted you when I read it, or when I watched it, and you were like, oh yeah, we're gonna talk about it.
Yeah. So that's April's storyline,
and that's pretty much it. Like,
yeah,
that's literally all that happens. Is like, Shu's kind of tempted to sleep with April, but really it ends up being about, I guess, not intimacy, but like having a warm body, quite literally. And
it was about Will Schuester teaching a woman to respect herself, which I couldn't be more proud of any other storyline.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah, at least Quinn got to help Mercedes respect herself. At least that was two women. Now let's get into the Kurt and Finn of it all.
The third of it all.
This is my favorite storyline of the whole episode.
There was a lot of nuance in this, and it could have been handled really poorly, and I think it was handled pretty decently. Kurt sets up his dad Bert with Finn's mom Carol because he has a crush on Finn, and he wants to if our parents are dating, then we might live together. And so he's talking about redecorating his room, and he's like, I'm thinking some kind of Hunter's Lodge chic or something, and you're good at that, so pick this, or pick a swatch. And he's like,
that one.
And he's like, oh, it have pegged you for a tall guy. And he's just he doesn't even respond, just does that awkward thing where he's stiff and walks away. And I love when he does that, and he's just confused. He's like, I don't know how to address this. Just walks away. It's a really funny acting choice. And then he's mad that Finn is mad that his mom is selling all their furniture, and she almost sells the recliner, and he's like, that's Dad's recliner, you can't sell that. The only picture I have of the two of us is him sitting in that recliner, so he's attached to it. He never knew his father,
who died in Desert Storm, right? I think that's the backstory. Happy belated Veterans Day to Finn's dad, I guess. Do they ever do a Veterans Day episode?
And every other veteran.
Oh, absolutely, yes. I mean, by the time this gets
this aired, it will be away.
Yeah. It actually may be next Veterans Day. Who knows?
Currently, Veterans Day for us was yesterday.
Oh my God, that was yesterday.
That was only yesterday.
That's exactly what I thought too. So this is the scene in which his mom has a really great line about, because okay, I really related to Finn in some respects in both of those episodes, The Power of Madonna and this one, because I talked about how that feeling numbness after having sex when it meant nothing. I was like, oh wow, I really feel that. And then in this episode, he's has very strong emotional connections to essentially inanimate objects that remind him of his father. And I was like, I really, really feel that, because I got the same way with my grandma's stuff. So Finn has some really interesting emotional depth that just it makes him so lovable. I think he's he's great with his little emotional depth.
That's why even when Finn fucks up or does something bad, we still love Finn because we have so much depth.
Yeah, he's got so so many redeemable things that just end up coming up that you're like, oh, our little Frankentine.
So Kurt sings in the Glee Club because he's talking about their parents dating. He sings to Finn, a house is not a home, which
is yet another really slow song
and really boring, and he's singing it directly at Finn, who looks very uncomfortable.
Also, so I actually laughed when it started, and it starts with Puck, and Puck mouths, "Are you gay?" And then it pans to Finn, who's what? He's just really confused, and then he gets into the message of the song, but kind of missing another element of it, which again is that precious naivete. But I actually laughed when Puck was like, "Are you gay?" I don't know why that
a legitimate
and I was
question.
That clearly someone understands what's happening here.
like Finn's uncomfortable, but he doesn't really know why. And yeah, it was that comedy was really the only thing that this scene had. Because I mean, Kurt has a good voice, but the song is a bit of a snooze.
But then also it cuts to Finn singing. Does he sing that song?
Oh yeah, because he's like, oh, this is gonna be a duet, Finn. This is your part, and Finn's like, what? That's why he's holding sheet music, and then he's singing that song to the chair, because there's a line that's like a chair is just a chair.
A really
well,
weird
I mean, you
scene.
remember he does this all the time. He sang to the video of the sonogram that wasn't his baby. So like, this is his thing.
You're right, but
It's how he
it
works
was like
through
a video.
problems.
I don't know, singing to inanimate objects.
Look at this stuff.
That's in the Gleeboot.
Finn singing.
This episode is all Disney songs.
Yes. There's a Disney song called Home in the Beauty and the Beast musical, which they could sing in this home-themed episode. Rachel could sing it.
Are we still gonna have this episode? It's so boring.
I have a pitch for how I would revise April, but we'll get there. Then they go to dinner because she's like, I'm really happy. Carol, Finn's mom, is like, I'm really happy with Bert. Let's just give it a try. So Bert, Carol, Kurt, and Finn are all at dinner, and Kurt's like raising his glass of Shirley Temple to like cheer to them, like to like a new beginnings, a new family, and Finn's all like, we're not a family. And then Bert is all like, I get that, like, I'm not your dad, but let's just have a good time. And then they start talking about sports and bonding over sports, and he's like, oh, I've never been to
Finn and Kurt's dad, Bert, and he's like, I've never been to, what's the sports team they're talking about? I don't
know. The football team. He's like, oh, I haven't been to one of their
Browns.
games. And the Browns. You're from Ohio, you know these things. He's like, oh, I've never been to a Browns game. And Bert's like, oh, I'll have to take you. Like, it's gonna be so much fun. And then Finn's like, for a place called Breadsticks, the breadsticks here really suck. Because they do look, they're like not even the good like breadsticks. They're just like basically pretzels.
Corey Monteith is so good in, like, we were just talking about, like, his like naivete, but like in this scene he's literally like slouched over, he's got his like mouth like half on his glass, and I was like, he is acting like a teen, and I was like, wow, someone on set has met a teenager before, unlike the writer Ryan Murphy. It's crazy. Like, I just thought he was
like, even the surly, we're not a family. Like, that was
on
point.
It's so authentic. And I was like, the whole dynamic was really, really interesting. Because, like, when that turn happened, like, you can just see the light die in Kurt's eyes. Like, things are not going the way he wanted, but maybe in a way that he just didn't expect. And, yeah, I just thought, like, that whole dynamic was just really, really interesting. Yeah.
I think it's funny because Corey Monteith was one of the older actors. I think Puck's actor was the oldest, but he was older and like the least likely to look like a teen. He's so tall, he's big, but his acting, he like acts the most like a teenager in his performance.
He's got a boyish face. Like,
yeah.
How old was he when
like
he played
29?
Finn?
I think he was like 28.
When he started. Yeah.
Wow. Makes you wonder, like, honestly, if I was close to being a teenager at that age playing a teenager, I would not want to play a teenager. I would want to be more adult.
Yeah, but people in their 20s always play teenagers on TV.
I'm saying the other way.
Oh.
If I was young,
playing
my own age, I would want to act more adult-like.
Yeah.
Because I'm a teenager.
Mm-hmm. The Disney Channel star syndrome.
Yikes.
Oh, I'm gonna unpack that one. So much Disney. So much Disney.
Disney Plus launched and it is on our brains.
That happened today.
Today. Yeah, if I watch any of that High School Musical show, I'll probably.
Oh, I was gonna mention that.
Looks very Glee-esque. Yeah. So they're bonding over sports, and Kurt is upset because now he sees like his dad kind of bonding with like the son Kurt imagines the son his dad always wanted. So afterwards he's like, it really hurt to see you bonding with Finn like that. And he's like, it's just some guy talk. And he's like, guy talk? I'm a guy. And he's like, I accept you, I support you, but like you like different things. And I think it's such a great scene because like you understand why Kurt's hurt and it makes so much sense. But his father did nothing wrong.
He's just trying to be a dad, like a good dad, and
Yeah,
it's.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I feel like the interesting thing about this storyline is that Kurt and Finn are both upset with their parents, but I feel like their parents both have, like, everyone has a valid argument except maybe Kurt, because I don't agree with his motivations for wanting to get his dad together with Carol.
Yeah.
But like the arguments between parent and child seem to be like very how do I put this, like not one-sided, like seeing everything from both sides. Is there a word for that?
Complex, multifaceted, fair, even.
I mean, all of those apply, but not what I'm trying to say.
Nuanced.
Maybe?
Yeah, because like it presents like the conversations with like his mom, with Finn's mom being like, I like this person and I haven't felt like this in a long time. Like those are conversations that I've had with my own mom, and it felt very, very authentic. And even though like I would have been on like Finn's side being like, I'm annoyed with this, whatever, like I have all these problems, but like you can see everyone's perspective, and it's no one's right, no one's wrong. Everyone's just kind of doing their best with what they have.
They're like all valid arguments. No one is like off the deep end here.
Which is rare for Glee, where it's often someone arguing with like Sue, who's like a straw man villain kind of character. So like these were all like everyone had a point, even if like maybe their point wasn't entirely mature or like fair to the other person. It's still like you understood why they felt that way.
I think it's so rooted in like realism that it's disorienting. But yeah, like so like Kurt, so you like mentioned Kurt's motivations, and Cullen, I just like wanted to be like, why do we always have why do we always watch shows where there's like a gay man trying to come on to a straight man, or at least a straight presenting man? Like, why is that a storyline that exists, and why do we keep encountering it? Because we had that in Smash. And it's just like, it's a thing that keeps happening. And I understand there's a lot of nuance to it, but it made me so sad to see Kurt having that motivation, because like he has like a really strong real issue happening with like jealousy over Finn, that like this motivation, it felt too much like, it felt like Glee being real and then Glee being Glee sort of pulling at each other in one person. And I was like, you gotta like pick a side. It just because the whole like Kurt Finn sort of like him having a crush kind of was on the wayside by the time we get to what we will probably start talking about now, the next move.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of the episode, that motivation is kind of completely gone.
Yeah, we'll get to, it's a rocky thing, and I'm not going to say they handled it perfectly. I think I get why they're doing it, because it's a very natural like teen thing to have an unattainable crush. And like I think part of the experience for a lot of gay guys, and I guess that happens in media a lot, because I got an unsolicited dick pic the other day, you know.
What the hell?
Yeah, that was.
I just I
It was
think it's
disgusting.
what you talked about.
I know the human body is beautiful, but I wanted to be like, that looked like a turd, because that's what my brain immediately thought.
Amazing. I know, like, you talked about earlier, like, we either want Glee to, like, be fully rooted or, like, go all out, and it kind of felt like there was something really unresolved that it kind of felt like shoehorned in. I don't know how I felt about it. It just I think I wanted to
Because there
explore
were
it
things
more. I
about it.
think that's what it was, because it kind of felt like the jealousy over Finn bonding with his dad happened too quickly. Like,
And it's an overall more interesting storyline than Kurt having a crush on Finn.
yes.
I'm going to be completely honest here, guys. Yeah. I know Kurt has a crush on Finn.
Mm-hmm.
I did not pick up on this subtext.
What subtext?
Like, it's okay. It was subtext.
No,
for
I'm
me.
saying, like,
I
what,
was straight on the page.
Subtext are you talking about?
Like, literally, that he wanted them to move in together because he wanted to live with him because he has a crush on him.
Oh.
Interesting.
It totally blew over my head.
I will say that it...
Like, now that we're talking about it, I'm like, oh, yeah. But as I was watching it...
No, I think that's totally valid.
It didn't...
Because
it didn't...
I may be coming from it with knowledge of what may or may not happen.
Things to come.
That's actually super valid, because, yeah, I don't have, like, not having this knowledge of what may or may not happen in the future to be able to read that. So, yeah, no, that's valid. But, yeah, I think I wanted to explore one facet of Kurt at a time. I think that's really what it was.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just felt overpowering, and while they were both really interesting, it felt like the one just kind of was dropped, like we were saying. And
well, say, because when I watched the episode, I remember Kurt, like, talking with Finn about his decision to get their parents together, and, like, he was like, oh yeah, it's for the good of their parents, because I know that my dad hasn't had fun in however long or something. It wasn't exactly that.
Yeah.
It was something like that. So that was what I thought, like, he was actually trying to do. Which is interesting that I didn't pick up on the crush thing until now. We're just talking about it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. But
that is interesting. So let's kind of wrap through the rest of this storyline. I do want to point out that when Bert and Carol met at, like, a PTA meeting or something, thankfully not the one where Akafelis was performing.
Oh, God.
He was
triggered.
He saw her, like, denim jacket, and he's like, oh, they say Acid Watch is coming back. And Carol's like, whoever said it
sparks literal sparks.
Sparks. They're so cute, and they so deserve to be happy.
They are adorable together.
I ship them. Best couple in Glee. And then, because then Kurt and Finn agree to break up their parents, and thankfully the storyline doesn't go, like, the direction at first I thought it would, of, like, them doing dumb hijinks.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Parent Trap.
Yeah, no, I was like, thank God. Because Finn is like, oh, I'm just going to dump Dad's ashes down the toilet because that's what you're doing, which, typical Finn subtlety. And she's like, you know, why don't we just enshrine it? Like, put it on the chair, turn on the TV, talk to it. Like, you don't think this is weird? Like, I go to bed every night and I talk to him, and because I miss him and you never knew him, but I have a chance to be happy and to move on, and it's what your father would have wanted. And Finn's like, no. And she's like, you don't know him. I knew him. And it's this beautiful emotional scene. And he kind of starts to back down. And then he's like going to get something from the fridge at night. And he runs into Bert. And he's like, I just wanted to talk to you and say whatever you wanted to say. And Finn is like, you can't replace my dad and all this stuff. And no, Finn's like, you know, he's like,
I was going to say, that didn't happen.
That did not happen. I'm like, wait, I'm misremembering the scene. He's like, before you say anything, I just want to say this. And he's like, I love your mom. I can't replace your dad. I'm not trying to replace your dad. I love your mom. We make each other happy. Just like, and I won't let anything hurt her. And he's like, I was just gonna ask, like, do you want to watch like the game on TV? And then there's this great scene. They're like going to go watch the game, and Finn like moves the ashes off the chair, and he's like, "No, sit here." And Bert just has this look on his face, like, "This is weird, but I want this kid to like me, so I'm gonna go with it." And it's just like, I love that he just acknowledges it and sits down, and they're watching the game, and then it just takes a turn for the utterly bizarre, and it pans up, and Kurt is just standing outside the window watching them
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night. It's probably like maybe 9:30, but still, it's like nighttime. No, like, okay.
What was Kurt doing there? Why was he out there in the middle of the night?
I figured out why I hated the way this is constructed. Because it packs so much into one episode of like this crush, this like jealousy over Finn, this like the parents fighting with the parents, Kurt feeling guilty about, you know, his dad not being as close to him, like all of these things packed into one, like all these facets of Kurt, and then it ends on it, like the sequence wraps up in something so Glee crazy that I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, can we pick an angle, stick with it, and explore it? Like, this episode was so boring. I think it's because we just didn't have a direction to go in. It was, I'm mostly frustrated. I mean, I was really creeped out, but now I'm just like frustrated.
Just like it was all like plausible, and then Kurt standing outside the window watching them was just like soap opera.
Honestly,
insane.
like I got teared up during the Bert Finn like talking, and I was like,
yeah, it was beautiful and emotional.
So good. And then, but my tears instantly evaporated when I saw Kurt like hovering outside. Was he also in his Cheerios uniform?
No, he was in like a plaid suit.
I remembered him in his Cheerios uniform because I was like, only that would make it more fucked up. He like just came from the performance of Mercedes and was like, oh shit, my dad's hanging out with Finn. I gotta go. And
yeah, because he thanked Mercedes because her song made him feel beautiful, and like
I hated that. I hated that interaction. I was like, why are you thanking her? Just stop. Just stop.
Yeah, that's like someone watching someone from the window is like more of a Riverdale level of insane, and even this particular version of someone creeping on someone from a window would be too weird for Riverdale. So like, it's definitely too crazy for Glee. Yeah. So that was Home. Okay.
My two final notes on my sheet.
Yeah.
Too many adults singing, and honestly didn't mind this episode. Kind of boring, actually.
It sums it up. Hollywood, everyone pretended they were surprised when Harvey Weinstein stuff came out, but everyone knew. And we mentioned this in the Power Madonna episode, how Will Schuester exhibits similar traits as someone who's grooming children to prey on. Yeah, that just makes us think about who's creating our media and how we consume it. But we're consuming it. As much as I do really love Glee, we are taking the time to analyze it at every angle.
I think maybe we're just chewing it up and spitting it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, because I'm like, I cannot consume this. It will physically make me ill.
But our Gleeboot is not going to be shady. This is before we get into
it will be a healthy meal for you to
consume.
Well balanced.
Before we get into well balanced,
protein, fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, all of it.
Like the chicken and salad Mercedes was gonna eat. My idea for April Rhodes' character, like a April Rhodes-esque character, is Kesha herself will be in Gleeboot
as Kesha.
As no, she's gonna be the ex-girlfriend of the Jonathan Groff teacher, from back when before he came out, and she's gonna be like this like kind of empowering like female preacher type person, like this kind of country girl. And she's gonna help, instead of Finn telling Quinn's parents that Quinn is pregnant, she's gonna help Quinn come to that realization, and they're gonna duet praying, because when Quinn's dad throws her out, she's like, "You made me feel dependent on you, but like, I don't need you. I can be strong." And it'll be a nice empowering moment for Quinn. And then at the end of the Kesha episode, they'll remix Praying in with her new song, Raising Hell. And it'll just be a fun little Glee number. And her whole character is that she calls the Jonathan Groff character out on his shit. And so when she's visiting in town, she's like challenging him. So instead of being like a charity case for Will Schuester to tell how to live her life, she'll be like the opposite and be like, "You need to get your life together," to the Will Schuester character.
Interesting.
So
That's a lot to unpack. Like, there's a lot of like relation to like what Kesha went through that you're embedding into this, and I'm loving that.
Yeah. Reborn Kesha is
got
amazing.
rid of April Rhodes and made a new character.
Yeah, because do you want this character back?
No.
Yeah.
But you're like, I rewrote April Rhodes. I'm like, what are you talking about?
She serves
No.
the same purpose. She's like comes in and out of the series, right?
Yeah, and she's like Kristen Chenoweth always brings this kind of country-esque feel to the episodes she's
Yeah,
in.
because one of the scenes, it was a Motley Crue cover done by Carrie Underwood. That was the one thing I was gonna say earlier. I lost my mind. I was like, why is Carrie Underwood still in this show? Like, so many references to her.
Yeah, she's show choir.
Apparently.
Yeah, so I thought like she'd be a fun country influence, because Kesha's new music has a kind of country pop vibe. I love it. You should all listen to Kesha's Reborn music.
I listened to her older stuff a little bit the other day, and then I saw what's his name's name on one of her songs, and I went, I'm gonna listen to this to support Kesha, but fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck
that's
that
his name.
I remember talking about that with my mom when the song Praying came out, and I was like, yeah, and he was like being a jerk to her about her weight and all this stuff, and it was like, my mom was like, it sounds like he's the one with the problems, not her.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Feminist icon Cullen's
mom.
Like
I am the most unlikely person to be making this podcast, because as you guys are like talking about all of these people and names and like
really gritty Hollywood
songs,
stuff going on,
I'm just like, I don't listen to pop music. I listen to blues.
She likes Hozier.
Well, he's not, I mean, like, I like Hozier, but he's not even like blues rock. He's kind of alternative in there. And then like Kaleo, that's a great band.
Yeah, no, they were great live.
But very different music than what is in Glee.
Yeah, they do cover Take Me to Church.
I was just gonna say that. I do remember that.
Yeah, I hope you're excited. It's a long wait, so hopefully that excitement feels
That's the whole reason that I'm watching now.
Oh god, I hope you're not disappointed when it happens.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I will be. But...
I will tell you, Will Schuester doesn't sing it, so at least you got that.
Thank you.
All right, so do you think it's Tina time?
Shit.
Tina has 8 lines. No,
she has
4 lines this episode.
She had 4 lines last episode, 4 lines this episode.
I can count.
They gave Artie more lines when they were talking to Mercedes. Just want to point that out. But Jenna Ushkowitz, who plays Tina, and Kevin McHale, who plays Artie, are best friends and have a podcast together, so it's fun. Yes. So that's Tina's time. She had 4 lines.
4 lines, not 8. 4.
What was your least favorite song this episode?
Can I choose?
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna go with whatever that song was that they were singing in Will Schuster's apartment.
Yeah, I would second that. I think what you said, it was the same song that Kurt also sings.
They worked some of that in.
I would say that clump, the Kurt solo and the
slow songs.
The really emotional ones that really meant nothing to me.
Yeah, I was gonna pick Kurt's song too. Yeah, my favorite song is like, it's really hard. I'm gonna go with the Fire duet because it was a nice cover.
I agree, because I actually used to listen to that cover all the time because I loved Kristen Chenoweth's voice. I still love it, obviously, but
yeah,
also, I was like, that's the only song I think I know the title to, and then I forgot the Christina Aguilera song happened. So, but still, I would pick this over that.
I'm gonna go with the Christina Aguilera song, the beautiful one, because Mercedes just has a great voice, and also I just really don't like the roller skating rink.
That made it hard.
The whole number, yeah, I just don't like it.
Who was your least valuable player this week?
Kurt, for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Kurt for all the things that I talked about. Although I'm not gonna blame him. I'm gonna blame Ryan Murphy.
I'm gonna blame Kurt because he was pressuring Mercedes to lose weight and being kind of meddlesome and duplicitous with his parents, but not entirely unsympathetic.
It's like,
there just wasn't a lot of Puck to hate this week.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, like, I forgot she was even in the episode because he didn't like, I don't know, like grossly touch somebody, or he wasn't sexy dancing really. He did make a lot of bedroom eyes during that fire. Oh God, it's all coming back to me now.
It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. A Glee cover that
yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna blame Ryan Murphy for everything.
Yeah, so I would agree, Kurt, for LVP. And then who's your MVP this week?
Mercedes. I'm just not gonna back it up.
I'm like, elaborate? Nope.
Fine.
Cool.
I went combination Bert Carol because I love their relationship.
Can you do that?
I'm doing it. I'm setting a precedent.
I don't know. I'm calling you out. Pick one.
Then I'm gonna.
She doesn't think Edgar's a villain.
No, because he can't choose ships. I disagree.
So I'm gonna go with then probably Carol, because she's got a great line early on, aside from her being adorable and amazing and just like a really great person. She literally tells Finn, she's like, you were conceived on a pinball machine. And I'm like, what a fucking badass. I love her.
He's like, wasn't I conceived in that bed? And she's like, you were conceived on a pinball machine.
Carol is, she's pretty awesome. You're right.
This was a tough choice because I thought about doing Carol. I thought about picking Finn because he had a lot of good moments. I feel like I've already picked her once before, but I'm going to pick Quinn.
Oh, you have. You definitely have.
Yeah, I love Quinn, even though she's also the worst. But, like, this episode, like when Mercedes said like how many people feel uncomfortable and like no one was gonna raise their hand, and like Quinn raised her hand and was like the first one up there to sing and like was there to support her, and like she had that great lesson about food and was like worried and concerned about Mercedes for entirely selfless reasons. Like,
yeah. There's no motivation
which
behind that.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I've seen this happen, and like I don't want this to happen to you because I admire this part of you. Yeah.
And she's also probably really salty that like Sue did this to her, and now she's seeing it for what it was in other people, and she's like, I don't want this to happen anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, she's stopping the injustice.
Feminist icon Quinn Fabray.
Yeah, so there are a lot of great character work in this episode, but there's also a lot of the songs were boring, and Glee is a musical. And so when the songs aren't exciting, it gets a little bore.
I don't even know what else to say. Like, I don't have anything like I think we talked about what I thought was like the most complex, because it was just stuffing what should have been 5 different storylines over a bunch of different episodes. It was meh.
Yeah. Well,
whole reaction to this episode.
Wow.
Meh.
Hopefully someone enjoyed this.
I mean, there are good things to enjoy in this episode.
But as a whole,
I'm talking about us.
I think we're delightful, and I think people just enjoy hanging out with us.
Humble.
Yeah, we're the best.
I'm the humblest person. I'm a minority because I'm in Glee Club.
Oh God!
Callback joke.
Wow, classic.
Classic. There's a great meme that was like the holy trinity of lines. You're all a minority. You're in Glee Club. You think your life is hard. I wear size 13 Nikes, men's, and you don't understand the epic highs and lows, the triumphs and defeats of high school football. The trinity of terrible teen content lines.
Amazing.
I have not yet watched Tall Girl, but my mother has. Fun facts.
So is this just conversation
My mother and
hour?
my father together watched Tall Girl.
Is this just a conversation hour now? We're like, well, I guess we're done talking about Glee.
We're done.
Who's seen Tall Girl?
Raise your hand. Oh wait, it's a
podcast. So please comment and subscribe and smash that like button. Please leave us a review. Give us your feedback. Let us know parts of the episode that you like and you don't like, so we can, especially this first season, we're really trying to like figure out what our like format will be going forward. So like feedback is totes appreciated.
Yeah, we're gonna get better. We promise. We're gonna grow.
We promise.
Well, I don't make promises.
Okay, so Cullen and I are
promises.
promising that we're gonna get better. We're gonna try to get better. We're gonna improve.
Promises are a trap.
Anyway, we're on social media. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Gleeboot Pod, and then also on the Tumblr, we are Gleeboot Pod. So yeah, hit us up.
Yeah.
Check us out. Share us with your friends, your family.
Anyone who's watched Glee, anyone who hasn't watched Glee and just wants to have the probably superior experience of us explaining
that, and
Glee
I would love to hear what people who have not seen Glee, what they think of our podcast, because that would be good to also have that kind of feedback too. Be like, hey, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about, and I can't follow, and then we'll be able to revise from there. So
yeah. Or I don't have a clue what you're talking about, and
yes,
I love it.
That is also valid. All feedback is valid.
Is valid. So we're getting close towards the end of the season.
Really?
Sort of. We're a little past the halfway point. So yeah, season 1 is we have a few more episodes left. yeah, so tune in next time.
Bye.
You're beautiful.
Bye. Bye.